can't wait to create my Memoji! Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech, so honest it hurts. If you're new here, thanks for coming by. Hope you stay. If you're old here, thanks for coming back. Hope you keep coming back. Anyway, today we had WWDC. No, not a wrestling event, but a developers conference held by Apple. And they announced a lot of software things at their software conference. So let's just sort of run through what they've announced, and maybe I'll editorialize a little bit and let you know what I think. So they started out with iOS 12. They're going with the bug squashing and some other stuff. They did say that they're going to have 50% faster keyboard response, I guess, and 70% faster camera opening, I think is what they said. 40% faster app launching, all the way down to the iPhone 6s. So, I mean, that's good. That's good, right? But still, they have a lot of features that have already existed in other devices. It's nice to see Apple come up the back end and catch up, but maybe these are things that should have been there all along. Anyway, iOS 12, I'm going to get the beta and see what I can do about it, do a little run through with it, and I'll tell you guys what I think about it. But that was an auspicious or inauspicious. It was which was kind of the theme of the entire event. So they moved on to a very long-winded demonstration of ARKit 2.0. They did things like measure a suitcase with AR because that's something you want to do. They talked about all the cool things that AR, and then the capper was they had two grown men play with Legos on the stage for like 10 minutes. These two guys are like, oh, I think I'll put Batman in front of the bank. I mean, I'm assuming those guys are being paid well, but I can't imagine how embarrassing it had to have been to, like play Legos on a stage in front of 6,000 people and whoever was watching from wherever else. It was just really, it was sad. It was sad. And basically it continued on. There's a theme here. Apple had a lot of toys that they showed off. Toys, like literally, they were playing with Legos like they had one Lego house or building or whatever, and then they built virtual ones in AR, and they could play together. It's a sad day. It's a sad day. It's a sad, sad day. Now, they also heard us loud and clear, and they have said they're making Siri even smarter. Now, you don't have to say, hey Siri, when you want to talk to Siri. You just start talking, I guess. The thing is, like, I can't even get Siri to respond when I say, hey Siri. So, moving things along, they're trying to get more like Google Assistant, but, whereas the new features in Google Assistant that we saw at Google I/O a couple of weeks ago or whatever it was, those were genuinely exciting and potentially somewhat frightening that what Duplex can do. Siri, it's like she's graduated from the 5th grade and she's going to 6th grade, but she's still a long way off. We also got enhanced do not disturb features, which is cool. I kind of have always wanted that. I want to be able to tell it when, hour by hour, when I want to not be disturbed. And so that's a good thing, I guess, if that's the way it works. It seems like it is. They also announced, and yay, there was much rejoicing, grouped notifications. So now you can have all your notifications for a particular app grouped together. grouped together. Imagine it. How could they ever have thought of something like that? It's unbelievable. But yeah, grouped notifications. Which, I mean, okay, so they weren't the first to do it. Yeah, whatever. At least it's here now, and hopefully it doesn't suck. Then they started with the Animojis. And they started with stickers. They had a grown woman on there, like, making herself what they now call, they've enhanced to where you can make your own Memoji, a Memoji, which is some avatar of you in a cartoon form. It's not a new thing, not a new thing at all. We've had all kinds of stuff like that, but this one will move its mouth while you're talking, and you can send it in texts, and you can do all kinds of things with it. But again, this is a toy out there in YouTube land. Any of you who have an iPhone 10 or on one of the latest devices, if you haven't used Animojis since week 1, I want you to raise your hand. Yeah, I have not used Animojis since I tried it out once and was like, who cares? So, who is it for? And why are they spending all that time to get that kind of stuff going when the overall OS has so many problems? Yeah, now we got a T-Rex and some other animals that we can make our faces talk in, whatever, and we've got Memojis, so we can create ourselves in a virtual environment and send it off in a letter to your friends. So anyway, one thing that I was kind of psyched about was they introduced FaceTime group calling. Now, this is a big deal because I know that doing any sort of group meeting or calling has always been, up to this point, something that companies pay a lot of money for and has never been easy to do with anything else. I mean, we got Google Hangouts, but that's like, that's like hanging out behind the liquor store. That's where they put Hangouts. It's just back there behind the liquor store, and you can go there if you want to hang out, but they're not supporting it anymore or anything like that. But FaceTime group messages, you can have up to 32 people in one group message, which in one group session. And I think that's going to be pretty cool. I personally don't have enough friends to bring more than a couple of people into any group discussion. It'll be good on the iPhone. It'll be better on the iPad. It's a cool feature. It's one of the features that during this event I was just like, oh, okay, that's cool, and that will be genuinely useful. Unlike playing Legos with ARKit 2.0. So then they moved on to Watch OS 5. And so now on Watch OS 5, you can use it like a walkie-talkie. So you can, like, the example that they used was two brothers in two different tents out behind their house, I assume. And brother number 1, who was younger, says, "Did you steal my snacks?" And brother number 2 says, "Yes, I did." And it's like, beep, 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 beep. This is not new either. This is not a new feature. I mean, I think it was the Nextel phones or something like that way back in the day. Every construction worker in New York City carried one of those phones, and you could just touch that button, and then you could say, "Hey, I need some bricks up here," or whatever it was. "Hey, can you give me some rebar?" Whatever they were going to say. That was the 90s. So maybe it's cool that it came back. I'd like to see it on the phone. I don't know. But they also announced better workout tracking. Like it'll know what you're doing when you start to work out. And it has a lot of different things, like you can track your yoga now, and you can retroactively get credit for what you've been doing when you tell it what you've been doing these all seem like features that exist in other products. So maybe there's that special Apple magic, but these are features that exist in other products. Like, doesn't Fitbit do this? Doesn't Samsung's devices do this? Maybe if Google ever releases another watch, it'll do this, doesn't it? Anyway, they moved on. I mean, they were just gaining momentum here. There's just picking up steam, rolling through this thing, that this friggin' 2+ hour cavalcade of uncomfortable stage presences talking about things. And so they moved over to Apple TV. And the Apple TV, if you didn't know, is the greatest of all things. It's the greatest thing that will, tell you, like, help you watch your Netflix. It's the greatest thing that'll, there's 4 billion movies on iTunes that you have to pay for. Apple TV is the solution to everyone's problem. The only problem is nobody has this problem. Now, if you buy a new TV, like I've got an LG 65-inch OLED TV back there, and the OS that's inside the TV is really good. And so now I don't need a separate set-top box. Sometimes I use my Xbox, but I don't need a separate set-top box. And no one else does either. But Apple doesn't get it. They don't get that the set-top box, plug it in and, be proprietary and all that stuff is long dead. They don't get it. There's no point in an Apple TV anymore. Nobody wants to play games on it. No point. But yet they persist. And now they have Dolby Atmos. And they showed their little sound wave demonstration of Dolby Atmos coming from a single, 40-inch long soundbar. This is not how Dolby Atmos works. You can probably get something that sort of fakes Dolby Atmos. I mean, the Samsung S9 and S9 Plus do this, but real Dolby Atmos is like speakers that fire at the ceiling and then come back down, and you've got 5 or 7 speakers all over the place. And you have to have the setup. And did they make a mention of that? And here's another thing: how did they get the audio? Because they took away the optical jack. I mean, I guess if you have an ARC HDMI, but otherwise, how do you get it out and into your home theater? Maybe they have a 3.5 millimeter jack for that. Apple TV is useless. Now, they got to Mojave, macOS Mojave, and it was, the first thing, I called it before Craig Federlingi said it, dark mode. Now, I am going to tell you, honestly, even though I don't have Macs anymore, well, I still have a couple of old ones, but you know what I mean. Native dark mode on macOS, super cool. And that's almost a reason to go back. I love dark mode in anything because my eyes are really bad. My eyes are really sensitive. The white that comes off of a screen typically gives me headaches after a while. So dark mode excited me. They also have integrated a lot of functions into the Finder window. Like you can edit video, and you can do some light editing of photos, and you can look at documents, and you can even sign PDFs and all other kinds of stuff, which I think is really cool because that's something that I don't believe has happened on any other operating system. So macOS macOS Mojave is looking good. They introduced a new way to view in the Finder window called Gallery, and that's where you can You can just select a thing, and then it gives you these options. You can also use the preview with hit the space bar, and it'll give you the options to do whatever small little things like that it can do. But it will save creative people a lot of time when they just want to grab a piece of something, or they just need to go through and select what they're doing. I mean, it's going to be a pretty cool feature. They also introduced desktop stacks. Now, I don't know about you, but years ago, I got tired of crap all over my desktop. And so I don't put anything there anymore. Although there are, like, screenshots go there and you don't have any choice. But now they'll take all of the crap that ends up on your desktop and they will put it in stacks based on what it is. So, pictures, presentations, screen, I don't know. They'll be in these stacks, and you can click on the stack and it'll expand out, and maybe that's good. I mean, do you guys keep a ton of stuff on your desktop? It just seems to me like the most inefficient way to find anything on your computer. Like, even when I want to get something off the desktop, I use the Finder window and select it there. So stacks seems like a solution in search of a problem, in my opinion. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Now let's talk about a few things that we didn't see. Some we hoped desperately we might see, but we didn't. We saw no new hardware. That includes no new MacBook Pro without a class action suit worthy keyboard. We had no new iPhone SE 2. No anything about any iPhones at all. No Mac Pro. No new Apple display to go along with that Mac Pro. No Mac Mini information. No MacBook Air information. No iPad update. So this was, it's a developers conference. They talk about software, but this time Apple was like, we are talking about software. And that was it. I really wanted to have some information about some of these hardware problems that they're experiencing. I want to know things like, why does Bluetooth not work in iMacs and all that kind of stuff, but nothing of that like that was forthcoming. So all in all, it was mostly a very cringy event where adults were acting like idiots on stage, doing things that none of their customers will ever do. And then there was some decent software with the Mac OS, and someday they'll get the message about Apple TV. Day late, dollar short, years late, thousands of dollars short. I don't know, but it was a painful couple of hours, truthfully. And I'm really glad that it's over, and I hope that I don't have to talk about it ever again. I guess the next time we'll hear anything is September? That's when we'll hear about hardware? I don't know. Did you guys watch the WWDC keynote address? What did you think? What was your favorite feature? What did you think was the most ridiculous thing that they made their employees do on stage? I forgot to mention the woman who was riding the stationary bike on stage while talking to her daughter on her watch and tracking her competition with her brother. See, a 40-something-year-old woman on a stationary bike on stage with a microphone talking to the audience, riding a stationary bike. I mean, do they get paid hazard pay? Is there an idiot tax? I don't know. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about for right now. This video is getting long. It's getting long. Thanks so much for being here. Do let me know what you think down in the comments. If this was your first time here, then do the things that you know how to do in order to come back again. And if this was your however many times here, then thank you for staying. My name's Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. And today it really hurt because I got knots in my back watching that thing. Anyway, until the next time, I'm out.